while we were shooting it, the man who puts up the lights, we call him the gaffer. The gaffer, who knew Renee really well, came down and sat on this desk. Renee and I were sitting on this desk waiting for our next take. We were having a conversation. The gaffer came down, sat down between us, turned to Renee and said, I just watched the two of you shoot the master, which is the beginning shots of a scene, and said, it looks like you guys have been doing this for years. And we laughed, because of course we had. And it is a Quark and Odo scene. I don't know how it fits in the episode, but it's really Quark and Odo. And I don't know why David wrote it, but there he did. So yes, we had a good time. Any other questions? And don't ask me if I'm an action figure doll. Go ahead. I'll make it short. We'll make it short.
Hi. Yeah, I have a question about females, and it can be for my view, even though it's for Ferengi females, essentially. In the episode Profit and Lace, Quark does argue that female consumers would contribute better to the Ferengi economy. But I've also heard it argued in other quarters that the budding, I guess, feminist movement on Ferengi now has somehow lessened or diluted the society, made it less more federation-like. I'm just wondering what, sorry if it's a bit deep, but I'm just wondering what are your thoughts on the feminism in Ferengi now? Do you think it would be a good or a bad thing for the society like the Ferengi? Say bad if you like. Be careful, man.
That's an easy question for me to answer. It's very easy. I, as Quark, would not like it at all. I, as Armin, thought it was a good thing, and glad to have seen it happen by the end of the show. There's no reason in that we are all humans. One of the great things about playing an alien is, to me, you all look alike, whether you're male or female. And I'm sure that's what anyone looking out from the stars, looking down on us, we're all humans. And why one race, one gender should be higher than another makes no sense to me whatsoever. You only have to look at that episode with Frank Gorshin in the original series with the black and white faces to learn that lesson from Star Trek. So I think feminism is a good thing. I think it's good for the Ferengi economy, and it's too bad it took that long for that to happen. And I don't mind that the women get clothed at all. It tends to be that women look better in clothes. Not my wife, but most women in general look better in clothes.
Nice clothes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Two questions. Have you ever worked with the great leader Nimoy? And tell us about that.
Sure. Let me answer that question. Did I ever work with Leonard Nimoy? I had the enormous good pleasure, honor. Leonard and John Delancey started a science fiction theater group, which was called Alien Voices. And we did about 5, perhaps 6 productions, readings of classic science fiction. And we worked together over the course of 2 years. Leonard was the director. Myself and some of the familiar Star Trek actors were all members of that theater company. So I spent a lot of time with Leonard and got to know him really well. It is a great loss, not only to me, but to everybody in the world, that Leonard has just recently passed away. He was an enormous gentleman, a kind spirit, a gifted photographer, a gifted director, a gifted actor, and we're all a little worse off for his passing.
He was one of the really deep gentlemen I have ever met in my life, through and through.
I will tell you one little short story, very quick. After Alien Voices had happened, long after, Kitty and I went off to a restaurant for a celebration of an anniversary. We walked into the door and I heard someone calling my name, looking around. The voice was sort of familiar, but I didn't know what it was. Finally, I see Leonard with Susan sitting at a table, and they called me over, called us both over, and we talked for about 5 minutes, and then the usher takes us to our table. And I was always a Star Trek geek. I was a huge, that's how I got onto Star Trek. And I turned to Kitty after after we just talked to Leonard and Susan and said, I realize I've worked with Leonard for many years. I realize I've done Star Trek for many years. But isn't it amazing Leonard Nimoy just called me over to his table? I really love Leonard.
We were actually having dinner with the guy who directed Field of Dreams that we just spoke about, who was like, oh my God, Leonard, he had just directed Kevin Costner, and he came over and went, oh my God, Leonard Nimoy knows you guys. It was...
Last one.
Firstly, just let me say welcome to Christchurch.
Thank you, John.
Good to see you here. The Knox met the Furling. What do they look like?
What do the Knox look like? Like what we look like. What?
Furling. No one else.
Oh, Mira Furley, what does she look like? I'm not following. Hold on. Oh. I see. The problem is, John, you watched that show more than I did. So, I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I told you I would answer all the tough questions. That one I can't answer.
And one for Kitty. Does Armin ever make you massage his ears?
And on that bombshell, Christchurch, please give it up for Armin and Kitty.
Thank you all.
Next up on stage will be Adam Brown from The Hobbit, so stick around.